You will be who you hang around with. My father-in-law used to say, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. Mm-hmm. You have to say, okay, I need to hang around with the smartest people I can hang around with. I need to spend time with, in my world, I went into business in a community, Admirals Cove, where I live, and the smartest people in the world lived there, and they became my sphere instead of some people that I had around that didn't want to work hard and didn't want to go where I was going. It's hard to go to, takes people on a trip with you if you're going to two different locations. So you got to make sure that the people that are on your trip with you are going the same direction you are, or else you're going backwards.
Welcome to the Freedom CEO podcast. It's about becoming the chief decision maker over your life in order to step into a life of freedom. From business, health, wealth, charity, and giving back to just doing life on your own terms. I am your host, Shay Invidiata. I am an award-winning activist, change maker, and a multi-facet impact entrepreneur with over a decade of experience in business, philanthropy, and health and wellness. In this space, I'm going to be bringing you insights, not just from me, but from incredible thought leaders around the globe to help you start making decisions towards living a life of freedom so you can live a life you love. Are you ready, guys? Because we are going all in. Rob Thomson is known as the largest purveyor of luxury real estate in Jupiter, Florida. Rob is part of the second generation of 3 generations of Thomsons to work at their family's business, waterfront properties, and club communities. Founded by his mother, Joan, who today is 91 and still has an active eye on the empire they are running. Rob has sold well over $3 billion worth of real estate. That's with a B, $3 billion in real estate, with plenty of awards and accolades throughout his career. He's been ranked in the Wall Street Journal's top 100 real estate professionals by volume multiple times, received the Who's Who in Luxury Real Estate Master Networker Award, member of the Billionaires Club, Extraordinary Philanthropy Award, and many, many more. Rob has become the leading agent in Northern Palm Beach County for most of the last 30 years, and now mentors his youngest son, Jack, in the real estate business. And today, this empire builder and philanthropist is on the podcast to mentor you and me on what it takes to be a dominator in your market, run an empire, and stay ahead in forever changing times. Today on the Freedom CEO podcast, I have the pleasure and honor to be having on one of my dear friends and longstanding colleagues, Rob Thomson from Jupiter, Florida. Thanks for tuning in and joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I'm so grateful for your time and to be here. Rob, I've known Rob, as I shared, I've known him for a long time, probably, almost 15 years. Through real estate, we met through our luxury real estate network. And I've watched Rob grow his business. He's watched me grow up in some ways. And both being in real estate, I have so much admiration for everything you have built. And we'll talk about the growth of your company today, and would have to, of course, also speak to the incredible mother that you have that started your company and the brand. But when you think of real estate and realtors, and now everybody's a realtor, I feel like it's like 1 in 3 persons are a realtor today, and it's a very saturated market, but you are one of the ones that stands apart. I was looking at your Instagram recently and just saw as well that already in, call it, heading into Q4, so that would be September of 2023, Rob Thomson has already closed and pending sales of $262,816,275. It's a huge number, Rob. Congratulations to you and your team for that.
It's been a phenomenal year, and we've been very blessed. I'm very grateful for it. It's been an amazing year.
Yeah. So when I think of you, Rob, I really think of two words come to mind: empire builder and philanthropist. And we could spend all our time today talking about real estate, which some people might find interesting. But what I really want to dive in with you is really around the business side behind the empire that you have built. And very parallel to everything you do in your business, you integrate philanthropy and giving back into the community. And that's really rare to see in a lot of ways, at least authentically. And, myself having an organization, I think it's really important that we are giving back. So let's start there. Empire builder, you are a philanthropist. When you think about what it takes in terms of creating a mega business, an empire, what are your cornerstones and pillars to building?
The most important thing you can have is surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you are, and people that are great people, from an ethics point of view. And fortunately, we have a lot of that here. We have a staff of, I think, 24 now. You've met Dave, my business manager. Dave's the smartest guy I know, and so having people around you that are smarter than you is critically important. Learn to delegate and respect other people's expertise and opinions. It makes all the difference in the world. You can't be an expert of everything.
So, I oftentimes will hear people saying exactly what you just said around being around people who are smarter than you. And for some people, I think it can be a very, it's an obvious answer, but not necessarily knowing, like, where do you find those people? How do you get into those rooms? How do you get a seat at that table with that network or that group of people that are more successful than you, are doing bigger things than you? What would your advice to some of those people be?
In my situation, my mother taught me everything I know about real estate, and she was really the guiding light for me and for everyone here, and still is. At almost 92 years old, she's still reading every contract that we write. She's still coaching agents on everything from how to be most efficient with your outlook to contract negotiation. She's sharp as a tack and runs circles around all of us in that category, which is, you think somebody would just be saying that. It's just true. She's just freaking amazing. But all of the kind of cornerstones of our business philosophies were her ideas that we've modified with changes like the digital era and all the different things. But she's amazingly stayed with it. She's on Instagram and Facebook, and she's got the cell phone, the iPad, and the computer going all the time. And she's not a person that got left behind the time. She's very, very brilliant and up to speed on all kinds of different things, which is shocking, but she is, and she's still probably working 50 hours a week, and
wow.
She won't stop. So
mentorship essentially would be your point.
When I met Dave, he was an internet guy, and I couldn't spell email. I mean, at one time we had a older computer guy at the office back when we only had one of those, and I can remember taking the laptop and being so annoyed by it, I tossed it out in the parking lot. Said, if I can't reach in the file, I don't want it. You can give those things to everybody else, but if I can't reach in the file and pull it out of the drawer, I don't want anything to do with it. It drove me crazy. And then we started doing an email report that went out to people, and we saw the power of how many people returned and asked questions freely and stuff. We grew into the computer era. And then when I met Dave, it was like, we just clicked. He was genius at internet stuff, and I was the top agent in town. So it was like the combination of those two and respecting each other's ideas really made a massive difference in our business. And all the people we've hired here that work in our marketing department and stuff, you just keep bringing in smart people, bring smart people. Totally.
I love that. I didn't know that Dave was actually in internet before he got into real estate. So
he was an internet guy And he was doing real estate, but he was really an internet guy. And I met him, and I had just spent a bunch of money on a new website, and he made me realize how worthless it was. And so we went on to building things that actually, created business versus just, looking cute.
Totally. I love that.
His exact words were, "That website's pretty, but you can't tell me it's productive."
That's very, very true.
And
very
it was.
true. So Rob, smart people, key to hang out with to grow your business, personal development, and self-evolve. So much more, of course, goes into your own staff and their involvement in order to grow your business. Do you guys, offer or do anything for your employees? You mentioned you have 24 now on staff to also help them grow as individuals within your own company?
It's very interesting because some of these people are so young. In earlier days in my career, you thought about hiring people with a lot of experience. In today's world, we're bringing in these young people, and when you're looking at them going, okay, this kid's 20, how much experience could she have? They're really doing unbelievable things. One of them was just texting me while you were fixing the computer saying she's beat me now, that she put up a post the other day and she has 20,000 likes on it already. And I forget how many hundreds of thousands of people have viewed it. And she had several thousand people shared it. That's a waterfront Instagram account that she made that post on. She created it and it just blew up. Before, we would have had to spend thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in newspapers trying to get people to flip to the page and take a look at something. Now you can quantify it. And this is a 20-year-old, and you're going, where their brain's at and how they do it in today's world. It's a totally different game.
And do you find, are you kind of adapting that philosophy, not just for your in-house employees, whether it's marketing, administrative, but also for new agents as well?
The younger agents are different than younger technology people. Because they don't have a book of business and stuff. We have brought some young people on. My son Jack at 23 or 22 when he started is one of them. But it's a little bit of a mixture of both, more experienced than the new. But if you find somebody new that doesn't have the millennial kind of, I need to be so well-rounded thinking. In my world, you get to be well-rounded when you've earned it, and that's about 2 decades away. So I like the well-rounded thing, but after you've earned it. But at the end of the day, it's the change in philosophy from my younger days. I'm 61 now. Is in my younger days, everything I talked about was growth and production and sales and everything. I had a meeting with the whole staff the other day, and again, David and I were talking about it, and he was talking about his goals with growth and everything else. And I said, it's really interesting because none of these are even on my radar. And what's on your radar? And I said, it's all about, I want it to be the happiest, best place they've ever worked in their life. I want the culture to be totally about culture and being kind and giving to each other and not doing things that annoy one another. And how do we make it the best place you've ever worked so you couldn't imagine yourself leaving and working somewhere else? And my belief is when you have that culture, you have people, you have great retention and productivity and sales and all that will follow phenomenal culture. So our focus is really, in my old years, focused much higher on the culture and less on the production.
Yeah, which is incredible because it's usually backwards for most people. And when I think of different CEOs and top executives, it's their leadership that drives the culture in any company. They're the ones that drive the atmosphere. And so then when you look at that individual who is leading, in this case yourself, taking insight into what are you doing in your personal life, because that flows into your business life and that creates the leader that you are. So when I think about that, it's like, that 9-figure, the B club, the multimillionaire mindset. What are the disciplines that you are doing for your own self, Rob, that then translate into creating the culture around you for your team?
Yeah, it's, without peace, nothing else exists. And, because with a lack of peace, it becomes toxic and cancerous. So, someone that's very special to me said to me about 5 years ago, sitting in my backyard, look at those clouds going past that moon. And I'm like, this is some hippie shit, to be honest with you. Something my friend Shay would say. And very beautiful. So I'm having to listen and I'm going, okay, I'm watching the clouds go by the moon and listen to the palm trees rustling, and listening to it, listen to the water out of the waterfall. Then the next thing I'm asleep in the chair. She's like, when's the last time you sat in that chair? And I said, not in 20 years. And she's like, you're kidding. Paradise is your own backyard. You don't even see it. You're blind. And that was a very impactful moment that I never forgot. And I will tell you that, when you sit there and go, wow, it's right here, and you're not even looking at it. That was a changing, pivoting point for me, where I was like, I need to smell the roses a little more. I still work a lot, but I take time to go lay by the pool or walk on the beach or whatever. It's a very important part of giving you kind of a calmness that helps you run your business a whole lot better.
Absolutely. And, a lot of it comes down to implementing what I call, for me, like boundaries. I often say you can't control what happens in the middle of your day, but you can control how you start your day and you can control how you end it. And so I'm like a fanatic around routine and the things that are most important to me for my own mental state, my own well-being, my personal growth, my education, because I'm always wanting to learn and evolve, really happens at the first beginning of my day in the morning or at the end. And I know you have made a lot of changes in the last even like 5 years around implementing new routine habits for your mornings, which have also changed your life. And when you think about what you just shared of being able to just sit in your backyard, which is absolutely stunning, Rob, it's like an understatement of saying just laying by the pool, and it is paradise back there, but you've got an incredible oasis in your own home, and taking that time to appreciate and absorb that peace in your life. I think a lot of that has come from the new practices that you have been really implementing over the last 4 to 5 years. And I'd love for you to share some of that.
You have to be careful who you let in your world and who you let not only in your personal world, but your daytime world. And it's been critically important to make sure that both agents and staff realize how critical the peace and the happiness is. And we're doing all kinds of different things with the agents. Now we do like a different dinner at a great restaurant or the club or whatever, and monthly kind of an appreciation dinner. And the same thing we're doing with the staff. And like we took all the staff bowling the other day just for something fun and goofy to go do. Take the afternoon off. Let's all close this place. Let's go bowling. It's a feeling and a culture change that it shows in work product, it shows in quality of work, speed of work, it shows in everything from down to, are they passionate about sharing your social media and working on it? And anybody can work on your social media, but did they grow it to be great? Are their videos great, or are they just okay? And when you're really happy and feel appreciated, you become more passionate about what you do. And all around, that's made everybody's life here massively better.
Totally. Absolutely. So where do you find, Rob, like, are you utilizing mornings as part of like getting done for Rob what Rob needs to get done before you show up at the office?
I used to be, for many, many years, I'd come to work at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and 100-hour weeks. Now, I still go to the trainer at 6 a.m. In the morning. And then now I go, you'll love this. Now I have a stretch guy at the gym after the trainer who stretches me for an hour to make me more limber and healthier. So I do 6 to 7 with the trainer, 7 to 8 with the Bruce, the stretch man. And then I go to breakfast. But like this morning, I met one of my agents for breakfast and do a coaching thing. And several mornings I do that coaching thing with different agents. They come meet me at the club. And before it was like, I got to get to the office. I don't have time for this. I'll get plenty of rest when I'm dead. But today I try to enjoy my life a little better and relax and have my breakfast at the club. I didn't even eat breakfast before. But
no,
never. When I say never, I mean on a Saturday, once in a while, maybe if I was hungover. But in today's world, I'm never hungover. So, but it's a whole different world, and it's the funny part is I valued so much more doing all these things, working all the time, and we're doing more units and more dollar volume both. So anybody can say, well, the prices rose, so that you can do the big numbers. We're doing more units now, with what I believe a much higher quality of life.
I had to take a quick pause to ask a big favor of you. If you are loving these conversations and getting value out of them, I would love if you could take 30 seconds to hit that follow button and leave a review. This will help my show reach more people and would mean so much to me, as I am committed to bringing you incredible conversations with each episode. So, Rob, let me ask you, in today's day and age, right? People will often say, I have no time. And they're busy. Yet majority of people are not juggling, are not running businesses, companies, employees to the magnitude that somebody like yourself is. And for those tuning in, Rob is not just in real estate, but he's got other companies as well, from yacht building to the mortgages. Are you guys still doing that, or is it title insurance?
So we have title insurance. We have a mortgage company here. I do a construction business with my brother. We have a commercial real estate company, boat buildings in West Palm, yacht brokerage is next door, yacht management. We have our hands, I guess, in 11 different businesses. Right.
So, you guys just heard it. Rob has a lot going on, more than I would say, beyond the average person. You're talking about the top 1 percentile of people. And having your days organized, or, I'm thinking right now around like Warren Buffett and how he decides what he needs to tackle in a day. And his strategy is writing down the 10 things and picking out 3 and crossing off the rest of the list and literally chucking it out to be only focusing on 3 things. And when I was visiting actually you last summer, and I had the pleasure to come through and see your beautiful office and meet some of your staff that I've never met before, there was simple things on your desk with like your black book of follow-ups and names, and you brought me through all of this. So I would love for you to share how do you stay on track and stay focused of what needs to get done? Because in one company, there's over 100 things. When there's multiple companies, there's thousands upon thousands of things, and you can't get everything done in a day or even in a week. And so how do you prioritize that, and what's your system for that?
You have to start by letting other people make decisions and not micromanaging everybody. There's all kinds of things that happen here that I have no idea happen. Sometimes I'll be telling somebody that, we do this or that and the other, and one of the staff will go, crap, we haven't done that in 2 years. So I don't get involved in everything because I respect their decisions in so many different areas.
Right.
My brother Steve and I do construction together. I should say he does construction and I fund. I don't. I would say I have not been to 90% of the homes that we've ever built. Not to look at the property when it was bought. I don't even know it was bought until later. And I see an inventory sheet and go, oh, well, you own this and that and the other. I'm like, okay. But if you deal with people you trust and you deal with people that are better at what they're doing than you are, then you don't need to be involved in that decision. So I would rather get 100 deals done this year and have a handful of things that didn't work out than do 10 and every deal worked out. So I don't sweat the small stuff. And I trust the people I deal with and don't have any hiccups. You get people you trust that are smarter than you in that area, you're in much better shape.
Totally. So my takeaway from what you're saying is hire, right? The good people, smarter than you. And also delegation is key. Right? People are so afraid to let go and give somebody else authority when really they don't realize the power of the word leverage to be able to give you back your time and allowing somebody else to be doing that task for a lot less money than what you value your own time per hour at.
Yeah. You'll never grow if you don't let somebody else pull the trigger on all kinds of different things. But yeah, I do value my time heavily. I don't put gas in cars. I don't take the dog to the vet. I don't return things to stores or do anything. I have somebody that does literally everything. I don't, if I'm going out in the boat, it's iced down. The coolers are iced down, the drinks are on it, whatever needs to be there. The food's on it. I'm not doing any of that because I can take all that time and spend it doing what I do and create a job for someone else to do everything to make everything ready. So I literally delegate everything. I don't want to do anything other than communicate with people and negotiate deals or negotiate opportunities. But everything else, getting gas, if you figure out what you make, I don't know what it would cost me, $30,000, $40,000 a year or whatever to put gas in my car. I'm not interested in doing that. I don't go to the car wash. I don't go to the car dealer. Bring it to me. I like the looks of that one. I'll take it. Send it over. Joni does the bookkeeping. I'm not interested in doing anything other than focusing on what I do.
Which, it's interesting because this is the power of one, knowing what your zone of genius is, and then just focusing on that. Because anything else that takes you away from your zone of genius is actually draining your energy, not just your time, but it's also an emotional sucker as well. When you could be investing your energy into something that does bring you joy, you're passionate about, that's your strength. And when you pour all your energy into that, you actually will end up making, like you pointed out, you'll make more money and you're going to be growing because you're staying in your lane, your own lane of genius.
Yeah. I had a guy come in and he wanted to coach me, and he said, oh, we'll meet an hour a week for, a year. How about 50 hours a week for a week? And then you'll really know what I do. And he goes, wow. So we ended up doing it for 2 weeks. And when he looked at what I did, he said, do you always go to the car wash every week and put gas in the car and stuff? And I'm like, yeah. And he said, okay, that's taking you an hour a week or more. That's 52 hours a year. That's a week a year. It's 1/52nd of your income. And he goes, you always go to the dry cleaner on Monday, go back on Friday and pick it up? He goes, yeah. He goes, that's another week. He goes, you're spending 2 weeks a year going to the car wash, putting in gas and picking up and dropping off dry cleaning. He goes, do you know how much you make? I'm like, I have a rough idea. And he goes, okay, divide by 52. That's what you spent to put gas in your car. That's what you spent to drop off your own dry cleaning. Why don't you get it delivered? And I went, oh. And I literally took everything in my world, grocery shopping, I mean, anything, and put it into that area of somebody else needs to do this. And it created a lot more time for me. And that's one of the ways I built my business, was create more time for me to do what it is I'm good at.
100%. 100%. And, for those tuning in and listening right now, you might be going, well, I'm not making enough. I don't have a company that's scaled large enough to be having a full-time car wash, personal cleaner, filling up my gas.
That's your answer. You'll never be that guy.
Right? Yeah. It's very true. But it's also the principle behind what you're saying. And everybody can start right where they are. And I always use laundry as a very basic example, because there are two types of people who love doing laundry, like Monica on Friends, who would love cleaning, love doing laundry, and it gives them joy. And then there's people like me who, I don't like cleaning, I don't like doing laundry. And something simple like that, especially today's day and age, you can literally find these services that will come in for under $20 an hour, clean, do laundry, and you can take that time and reinvest it into what actually brings you joy and what actually is going to help you grow your business to bring in more money. We talked about peace earlier. If folding laundry brings you peace and joy, continue folding laundry, because that's part of that for you. No different than if you really enjoyed getting the boat ready and bringing the food on board, I'm sure you would continue to do that just because it brings you joy and peace. But if it's not, you're trading, that's an energy exchange. You're trading that for something that you could be paying somebody to do that in order for you to focus and stay in your zone of genius and grow your business.
Did you see my Instagram post today?
Let me take a look. Oh, it's so funny, Rob. Okay, I did after the fact, because one of the things I wanted to ask you about, this is a great segue, so let's just go there. One of the things I wanted to speak with you around growing your business is you have to be willing to do what other people aren't. And for those tuning in and maybe not able to see on video, Rob just posted on Instagram today, and his Instagram handle is on the bottom of the screen if you're watching on YouTube. If you are listening online, you can go to Rob Thomson Waterfront, and you will see there's 2 kiosk booths, and one has a sign on it that says "Hungry to Win," and there's a long lineup of people that are waiting in that line. And the other kiosk says "Hungry to do what winning requires." And there's literally nobody there, which if you had to recreate that, Rob, you should just put yourself right there. It should just be you. Put Rob Thomson in that booth. But I think it articulates perfectly what is required. Is so many people want to be wealthy. They want to be rich. They want to win. They want to be thin. They want to have all of the luxuries, but they're not willing to do what's actually required in order to, like in this post said, win.
I love when people tell me, you're so lucky. You just got a horseshoe coming out of you. Yeah, oh yeah, that was it. It's such a huge role. You're counting on luck, you'll be broke for the rest of your life. But at the end of the day, you have to be willing to make a lot of sacrifices and do a lot of things that, and some people aspire, say, my goal and what I love is to have all this free time and walk the beach and do stuff. Other people want, financial independence for the rest of their life. And if that's your goal, you can't run around and say, I want this and I want that, but I want to work 30 hours a week. And, you can't have it both. You have to either say, hey, I'm super well-rounded, or I want to have, the home in the Carolinas and the boat in the Bahamas and whatever. If you want all that, you got to do what it takes to get that. And it's a lot of work on the front end. After you get it rolling, it becomes easier, but you have to front end load it.
What do you think some of those sacrifices are, or like when you say you've got to really work for it? What does that mean? Unpack that for me.
In the beginning, I can remember my mom calling me at 6 o'clock in the morning and telling me she wasn't impressed because she was here and I wasn't. It's today, it's the same thing with me. Like I have a young agent that'll text me at 9 o'clock looking for leads. And I'm like, I gave them out between 6 and 8 a.m. to all the people that were in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what were you doing? I mean, hello. It's if you want to win, you need to be first. You need to do what others won't do. You need to work a lot harder. You need to be super responsive for your clients. They don't want to hear I was on the other line or I was away from the phone. You answer, and you answer right now without any question. And the same thing's true with an email. You respond to an email at the speed you do a text or a phone call. There is no wait. It's instantaneous. There is no, my mom used to say, if it's not perfect, it's wrong. And that's the fact is you have to go above and beyond for your clients and let them know they're more than a commission to you. You got to make them feel special and do things for them in all kinds of different ways. Drive them to the airport and put food in their house before they come home and do all kinds of stuff. Let them know you actually care about them and they're not just a meal ticket. When you show you really do care, they become an evangelist for you. They'll go out and get all kinds of people to do business with you. But until you're willing to go the extra mile for them, they're not going the extra mile for you.
Totally. So well said.
You got to go in earlier and stay later. And, one of the sacrifices you make in our industry is you will be who you hang around with. My father-in-law used to say, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. Mm-hmm. You have to say, okay, I need to hang around with the smartest people I can hang around with. I need to spend time with, in my world, I went into business in a community, Admirals Cove, where I live, and the smartest people in the world lived there, and they became my sphere instead of some people that I had around that didn't want to work hard and didn't want to go where I was going. It's hard to go to, takes people on a trip with you if you're going to two different locations. So you got to make sure that the people that are on your trip with you are going the same direction you are, or else you're going backwards.
Yeah.
Who you hang around with is critical because you need people smarter than you to teach you.
100%.
It was college.
So, Rob, when I was visiting you last summer and came to your office, there was so many cars parked outside of your building, and uniquely to you, branded. When you join Rob's team, you're required to get a branded license plate that says Waterfront Properties. Depending on the volume that you do, from my recollection, depending on the volume you do, you'll also get a different license plate. So as an agent, I'm aspiring to get that trophy, hard-earned license plate that says, like, I'm the fucking top dog, one of them anyways, in Rob's company. And I thought it was such a interesting marketing as well, right? Because now you have all your agents driving around town in your communities and they just see your brand everywhere. But what I thought was interesting is that oftentimes I'll say, if you're an agent and you're in the office, you're not making money because in today's day and age, it's being in front of the client, being out with clients, doing showings. If you're doing an open house, presenting an offer, doing a CMA for a market evaluation on a home. So I want to ask you, what is the thought process, or what is the strategy for you to have? I know, I love that. You got to send that to me, and I'll include that. We'll put it into the video. What is the thought process for you, Rob, around requiring your agents to basically show up at the office? I don't think I know any realtor that's almost like a requirement in order to, in your words, get fed with leads?
Birds that fall out of the nest never get the worm from mama. But
Yep.
at the end of the day, people don't work well from home. They're lying to themselves for the most part when they say that they do. They don't. They get distracted by the dog and the neighbor and the housekeeper and, the kids and everything else. If you want to be focused, you need to go to work and be in a professional work atmosphere. It's a game changer. People that work from home, as soon as they tell me that, I'm like, this person's going to be a no-go. They love to work from home. I'm like, oh yeah. And I always tell them the same thing. Your production reflects it.
Sure.
Because when they come in, it's not like they're walking in the door and doing $100 million a year. They walk in doing $4 million a year in transactions, and they're telling me how important it is to stay home. I'm like, you might want to continue doing that. There won't be.
And also, too, I'm sure, like
Mercedes in front of your house. I'll promise you that.
Right. Yeah.
If you want to sell a lot of houses, it's not going to happen because you sat home. I do it for my cash.
Yeah.
But
it's true.
People that want to, hit rock star status better join the band.
I love it. And so if I'm a new agent coming in, not new agent in the industry, but if I'm new to your team or I'm interviewing to join Waterfront Properties, do you share that as a requirement?
So we email them. We email anybody that wants to work here a list of 100 questions before we interview them. They have to answer those questions and send them in, because I want to make sure once they read my 100 questions that mean like you're going to come to work and you're going to put a tag on your car and you're going to dress professionally and all the different things that are important to us. 75% of them will never call me because like, oh God, if I go there, I'm gonna have to work. So the 25% that actually come in to see us after we read their questions, they're pretty tuned into the fact that this is going to be a very professional work atmosphere and that we expect them to show up and dress professionally and act professionally and work professionally.
I would think that just even the 100 questions alone, going back to the Instagram post that you shared this morning and the principle of doing things that others won't, I would be so interested to know if you know it, what is your completion rate of even people completing those 100 questions? Well,
only about maybe 25% of them return them.
Right.
The other 75, it asks all kinds of questions. What books have you read? What courses have you taken? Books about business and real estate and marketing and whatnot. And we ask all kinds of different questions, and it totally spooks them because like, oh my God, I don't just get to do this between tennis and golf lessons.
Totally.
I'm not looking for the people that don't really want to be professional and work at it. They just kind of want to do a deal with some of their friends here and there. That means that if they do a deal here or there, that the client, even if it's their friend or family member, is going to get an unprofessional experience. And I don't want to put a Waterfront logo on that at any number. The money's not worth it. You're branding yourself with every deal you do. And when you allow people to be unprofessional, then what you're going to find is that the experiences that they were given that they talked about were unprofessional, and you branded that with your company. So all this independent contractor stuff where agents just go do what they want, every time they do that and they don't do a wonderful experience for the client, they're branding your company as that experience. And that's not a reflection we want.
100%. Well, and I mean, too, like, I just think it's so fascinating you guys do that. I'd love to apply, see if I get in. But the idea that everybody wants to be with the dominator, right? Everybody wants to be with a successful company, the top company, and within our real estate industry, being with a dominator like yourself. And yet again, it's so fascinating to me that only 25% of people will take the time to actually complete questions in order to gain access to actually where they want to go. And again, it just goes to show like people, you're not willing to do what's needed to be done to get to where you want to be.
They're confused. They think they're interviewing us.
Right.
Yeah. And most real estate companies are going to go in and see what the real estate company is willing to do for them.
Sure.
And they're going in there, and if you can fog up the mirror, breathe on the mirror and it fogs up, you have a job.
Right.
We're very selective on who we hire, and we don't just hire people because they have a license and they want to hang it here. I don't have any interest in that concept.
Yeah, no, I think it's phenomenal. I've never, not to that extent. I mean, we have an intake process ourselves as well, and very similar. People think they're coming in to interview, and really you go through, we have a 3-step interview process that once you pass the first, you've got to come in for the second, and then there's a third component. So that's really unique though. I love that you have this 100 questionnaire. That's great. I would love it. Yeah. And I mean, I'll fill it out. Seriously. I'll send it back.
We have the agents not only interview with us, but that we have them interview with some of our agents. We want to talk to some of our agents. We want our agents to come back and say, how do you feel about them working here? How do you feel about having them in your culture? And sometimes we just get a thumbs down, like, oh, I don't really want to work with them. They've either had an experience or know somebody that did. And the ones we unfortunately hired in the past that agents discouraged, we thought, oh, that was a mistake. You're all going to have to live together here. So it's kind of like having somebody live in your house. You really need to make sure that there's somebody you enjoy having there.
100%. And again, that goes back to the creating culture. We do the same thing. Step 2 is you meeting one of our newer agents on the team that's been there less than a year, and then our senior agents. And it's a 2-way interview process. And Christopher, who, for those listening, my father, Christopher and myself are not in that meeting. It's literally just the agents to agents. But then we, of course, get the feedback from the agents on our team to say, yes, no, thumbs up, thumbs down, here's why. And if they pass that test, then they go to contracts, which is the third step. So we don't even get into any of that until we know that family, like you said, culture-wise, it's a fit. Because just because you're a top producing agent doesn't mean that you're right for the culture in our team.
No question.
Yeah, I agree very, very much. Rob, I want to ask you, your son's getting into the business now. When I was there last summer, he had just gotten his license, which was really, really cool. And when I think of either a new agent, solo, might not have the background like Jack does, your son, where he's got not just you, but also his grandmother, which is incredible. Or for somebody like myself, that I had my father as a mentor, either a new agent coming into, let's do that. Like a new agent coming into the industry and wanting to start and build their real estate career, especially with technology and AI and everything that's happening right now. What would your advice be to a new agent?
The younger ones, when they're in their 20s and stuff, they really need to have some family ties or some reason that people are going to give them business. Your dad's a huge investment guy, and he can feed you friends and clients. You probably will survive it. But if you're really young and you don't have someone that can feed you a lot of business and stuff, my advice to them is go get a different job, go sell things, get your license, either try to be an assistant for somebody or go get your beak wet selling cars or selling AT&T or anything to learn the sales process, and also grow some whiskers. At the end of the day, when a client sees you and they think you're 22 years old, they're like, we know how much experience they have. Unless they're just adopting you and giving you a deal, it's very difficult. They start ghosting you and you're like, oh man, here's another one I lost. You're losing them to experience, especially in a market like we have now with no inventory. They want somebody that's connected. So it's a bad time for a new person unless they have some really special circumstances where they can get business from. I'd recommend they go get in sales for the next 10 years and come back when they're have a little more time under their belt. They'll be confident.
Yeah. Which again is, I'm such an important role of mentorship. And you said, even if they could be an assistant to an agent, to just learn the ropes, start getting trained. And there's a lot of merit, goes a long way to being basically kind of like volunteering in some ways. If you had somebody come knock on your door and say, hey, I would love to just volunteer. You don't need to pay me, but for the next 6 months to a year or longer, whenever you think I'm ready, could I just learn? How can you use me?
In the beginning, they should be paying us.
Well,
really, they're cool.
Yeah. I don't disagree, with the knowledge and the experience and just even the insight exposure that they would be getting, like that's invaluable. 100%. You're not going to learn that anywhere else. You're not going to learn it anywhere else. Rob, can I ask you, what do you think about when you think of maybe just starting a business in general today? There's so many different gaps that are taking place in the market, industries being replaced by AI. What opportunities have you noticed or do you see if somebody's saying, hey, I'm not necessarily, I don't need to be a realtor. I don't want that, but I want to be in business. I want to take ownership over my own finances. What business do you see an opportunity for today?
I think every business, there's an opportunity. If you, will work harder than anybody else and you can solve a problem people have, there's an opportunity for you. But I think almost every business has so much opportunity because people just don't work hard and they don't make raving fans out of their customers. If you're willing to make people a raving fan, you're going to do so much more than anybody else would do for them. There's plenty of opportunity out there in every form of business because the service, let's be honest, service sucks. Even the truth is that the best service available in almost every industry, the best is typically average. Yeah. And you don't walk into a restaurant and go, wow, that service was unbelievable. Yeah. Right? You walk out and go, oh, the service was good. I mean, that's the phrase people use. The service was good there. Oh, okay. So you met mediocre standards. That's terrific. Yeah. But if you're a restaurant and you gave phenomenal service and made people feel unbelievable, they'll come back for average food. But it's true, just phenomenal service and a great experience. The head of Starbucks told me one time, he said, we were in Seattle at a luxury real estate conference and they brought him in as a speaker. And I was talking to him and he said, again, one of the most impactful things anybody ever said to me, Rob, you've got to decide, do you want people to have a transaction or an experience? Mm-hmm. If you just sold their home, or found them a home and they bought it and everything went well and there were no major problems, that's a transaction.
Right.
He goes, but a transaction is not going to get them to be an evangelist for you and it's not going to get you referrals. You need to give them an experience. And he said, why do you think people pay $5 for a cup of coffee at Starbucks? And he said, no, how much do people pay for a cup of coffee at Starbucks? I said, I don't know, I think it's $5 or something. He goes, no, coffee's 50 cents. The rest of the money's for the experience. Mm. And wow. It was an impactful statement, right? And he talked a lot about it, a lot of different things. But I went back and said, okay, how do we make the experience at Waterfront with our agent and their client, buyer or seller, totally different? If you're a buyer in today's world, you're so stressed out because every realtor is saying to you, you know what? I'm going to let you know as soon as something new comes available, I'll call you right away and we'll get in and see it. To me, that's the most offensive thing you could say to a buyer in today's market. Why would you say that? I love that word. I'm going to wait. You're going to wait until something comes available to tell them about, so we can put you in competition with all the other people that are going to drive the price up before you get your hands on it. So in our world, what we're trying to do is find out what the buyer wants. We're picking up the phone. We're calling every homeowner with any property similar to theirs. We're looking up their email addresses. We're looking for them on social media. We're, looking up the phone numbers and calling them. We're knocking on the door. We're sending them, an express mail package, looks like a FedEx. We're doing everything under the sun, trying to find that property before it goes on the market, because we have such a lack of inventory. We want that buyer to know we turned over every rock and every stone to find them what they want before it became public. And that's the kind of feeling they want. They want to know that you're going way above and beyond what everybody else does. Wait for the next property. You know what that sound? What they had to hear next is click. Totally. Done. You're going to wait. Oh, thank you. I called the right guy.
Yeah.
It's that's the experience you have to give them.
I love it. It's so true, though. I mean, it's very true. And people will rarely remember what you say, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And that's the difference between the transaction and the experience. It's the exact same philosophy. So I love that. So true. Rob, before we kind of wrap up, I want to spend a few minutes chatting with you around giving back. You've known me for a while, and that's a really important piece of my life. It's not just a topic. It's not just something that I do on the side. It makes up who I am. And you, I would say, are the exact same way. Giving back, the community is just part, it's like breathing for you. And you were recently the recipient of the Florida Realtors 2023 Humanitarian of the Year Award. And I just saw you were also recently nominated for the Extraordinary Philanthropy Award for 2023. Congratulations on both those. So well deserved. And I'll be rooting for you. I hope that you become the recipient for the Extraordinary Philanthropy Award. Want to ask you, why do you care? Why?
Yeah, as a kid, my mom always taught us it was not ours, to keep. It was just ours to manage. And, you're blessed. You should give back. Not everybody can. Everybody that can should, in my opinion. I think that giving back to those that are less fortunate is so critically important. There's just all kinds of people in all walks of life that need a hand, and everybody does it, at different times in their life. It's just the right thing to do. And my great grandmother used to say, "He who gives gets," and the more you get, the more you should give back. And it's a key part of our culture. It's what we do. It's who we are. It's what we enjoy to do. People say, "Oh, you're passionate about real estate." The truth is, real estate lets us do what we're passionate about. We love to do what we do. All the different charities that we're involved in, so many of them are such cool niches. Big Dog Ranch Rescue will save 5,000 dogs this year. And people think of it as a dog place. It's not a dog place. It's a people place with dogs. If you think of all the elderly that get a dog and it brightens their day and keeps them company. And, we're building a place right now for your active military. When active military gets deployed, so often they give their dog up and then it gets put down. They have no dog to come back to. That's horrible. So we created a shelter for dogs for active military, where your dog is taken care of. Food, vet bills, boarding, everything's paid for. When you come back, your dog's here.
I love that.
And so training dogs for war vets with PTSD and things, it's a people place with dogs. It's great. And Hannah's Home is a place that is for girls 16 to 24, pregnant and homeless. I mean, what a great place.
Totally.
So all those kind of things are things that we just love to be involved in and support and do things. We're getting ready at Hannah's home to take their learning center and totally redo it and make it bright and pretty, where they teach the girls and educate them, put in windows. It doesn't have windows right now, so we're going to put in big windows and make it beautiful and make it a great learning center, not just a place to learn. We want to do that in a great environment.
Do you, Rob, like, there's so many charities, there's so many causes, and all of them are worthy within their own right. How do you decide? Do you say yes to everything, or do you have within, certain things that you say that you guys are focusing on?
We say yes to so much, everything we can. There are, we like to do things where people have no place left to turn. Like when they came to me for the special needs kids who are riding a school bus with no elevator, no air conditioning, full of mold, falling apart, no way to get a new school bus. Well, there's not school bus charities. So we built them a new big orange, yellow, whatever you call it, school bus. And when I saw it, the lady's like, "You're really just going to build us a new school bus?" And I'm like, "Really? We are." And so after we built that one, then another school, the Dwyer School, called me a year later and showed me their situation. It was worse. And so we're now building a new school bus that'll be ready in January for them. And during COVID, we built a gym for the Tequesta Police Department and Fire Department. And I've never been a gym builder. I mean, we renovated a space for them and made it a new state-of-the-art gym. And then found out the Juneau Police, which is the next town over, 2 towns over, had the same problem, defunct old gym, and you can't put the police officers in a regular gym with people that were sick at the time. You're going, how do we help them? So we built a gym for them. And so we're trying to do something that's, we go to West Palm, into the areas where kids are going giftless at Christmas, and do, bicycles every year. We've done that for, I think this is 21st or 22nd year. Last year, I gave a bike to a lady, and she said, "You don't remember me, but you gave me my first bike."
Wow.
What? She goes, "Yeah." And I was giving her daughter her first bike.
Wow.
It's like, wow. So it was really cool. But, just a lot of different things.
And, it's one thing to say, you want to help. And there's also a lot of people that they give back, they donate, not necessarily giving as much of their time, but they donate. And it's not, usually it can be not genuine, and you can feel that out. And one thing that I really love is from you and your heart is it's not just Rob Thomson doing charity and giving back, but you also get your staff involved, you get your office involved, and this is like the core, the heartbeat of what you guys are doing. And a lot of businesses, sometimes they just say, "We don't want to integrate that, we'll support, so like here's a check and to donate." But it's not often that you see this like complete integration. And I don't know if you remember this, Rob, but last summer, again, when I was down to visit you, we covered a lot actually in those few days. That's how I'm feeling. But when I was there to visit you, in the garage, you guys were preparing all these suitcases with supplies for individual children. Tell me what was going on with that, because one of your commercial agents was actually like in the garage as well. Like those suitcases were being filled up and ready to be delivered.
So the Place of Hope is a phenomenal place. It's a place where children that are, instead of being in foster care, bounced from house to house to house, Place of Hope puts them in a family where the mother and a father live in a house, a couple, and they'll have 4 or 5, 3 or 4 or 5 siblings, and they live in that house through age 18. So get bounced around and stuff, and it's a phenomenal place. And I think the number they have of children in their care right now is just under 400 kids. And they have several campuses where they have regular homes and looks like regular neighborhoods, but it's their neighborhoods where these kids grow up in a very safe, very healthy, wonderful environment. Well, so many of those kids had never been on vacation. And I mean, it's terrible. But so during COVID, we started sending them away on vacation and sponsoring vacations for the kids. And then later I found out that a lot of these kids, because they don't have a lot, were carrying their things in a bag.
Wow.
And like, you go on vacation and you carry your things in a bag. I'm
Right.
like, that's not right. We're going to buy them all suitcases. And then the staff's like, no, we got to stuff them with all the stuff you take on vacation. And, the beach towel and all the different stuff. So the staff bought all the different stuff for kids to go on vacation with. And then we stuffed all the suitcases and took them down there. It was a great experience.
I love it. I love it. And it you can just see, even like what you're saying, your staff getting involved, of being like, Rob, not just suitcases. We gotta put more stuff in it, like the beach towels, so that they can use. And it's a complete hybrid of what you can do around growing your business, creating culture, where it's not just around business culture. It's also, they feel good. Your staff feels amazing. And I'm sure they're extremely proud to be a part of a company that cares about giving back to the community and making the community a better place. And it's not just about production volume.
We try to do things that also that the different people here are personally touched by and involved in. We have different people that all from different walks of life that have different things that in one point of their life or another may have touched them. And so we try to do a lot of that. It makes those charities even more near and dear to that staff member or that agent. It's really interesting when you listen to, we made a video one time of a bunch of the different people here talking about what they liked about our charity stuff. And when you listen to them talk, it was so impactful about, maybe they had a bad childhood and that's why Place of Hope is so good to them. And I'm like, I had no idea that was part of their life. And these charity opportunities help you know and grow closer with all of your people.
Yeah.
It's really, really impactful.
Yeah. I mean, you can see that just in the short time of you sharing, you can see that. So Rob, I'm so grateful for you and your wisdom and just spending some time with me today on the podcast. I definitely still want to come down to do one in person. And I'd love to, we'll have to do part 2 down in Florida. Before I let you go, though, I want to ask you one final question, because you are on the Freedom CEO podcast. So I ask everybody this. When you think about being the CEO of your life, not your company, but of your life, how has taking ownership over your decisions brought you freedom?
I have to say that it gives you great peace to be able to know, what, if I want to take that time off, I can. If I want to do stuff with my kids, I can. Saturday, I took 2 of my daughters on a shopping spree. If I didn't do what I've done in business, I can tell you we would not have been at Aloe and Cardiac. But it's being able to do all those nice things for my kids, for my family, for the charities, for the freedom to be able to do what we've done charity-wise and continue and always will. My son's growing up watching it here. And, hopefully when he's sitting in this chair, he'll continue to do the same thing. My kids have been in it since they were small kids. We started giving away the bicycles. Jack is 23. So when he was 2, we started giving away the bicycles.
Wow.
And it's been very impactful on them. My daughter, Rachel, one year, somebody said, you need a new bike. And she said, I don't want to take one. One kid won't get one. Wow.
Yeah, totally.
It gave us that.
Yeah. I mean, it's so inspirational, so powerful.
It is. It's just life changing. Having the business has allowed us to do what we're passionate about and the freedom to do it.
Yeah, I love it. Rob, like I said, so grateful for you. Thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'm going to have you back on.
Come see me.
Thanks for tuning into the Freedom CEO podcast. If you got value out of today's show, I would love for you to leave a review, as it will help my show reach other people as well. You know what to do. Download this episode, click the like and subscribe button. If you feel like spreading more love, hop over to Instagram and share today's show in your stories. Remember to tag Shane Vidiata and the Freedom CEO. My DMs are always open, so drop me a line. I'd love to connect. Until next time, keep owning your decisions to live a life of freedom. Live a life you love.